Okay, hello YouTube. This is Skinny Brit to be. Oh God, what date is it? 24th of October 2010. For those of you that have not been following me, I am hoping to have weight loss surgery, and I have funding which has been approved. And last week I went for a seminar at the hospital where the surgery is due to take place. And this is following a 6-month program which I did with my own local hospital on weight loss. And it was supposed to be an introduction to the actual hospital where the surgery will be, details of the surgery and sort of what one can expect as far as food is concerned just before and just after surgery. I had a feeling that it was going to be an absolute rerun of everything that I'd done on my 6-month program, and so it turned out to be. And in fact, the dietitian was explaining, or trying to explain in quite a lot of detail, exactly the type of diet that you could be expected to follow post-surgery, and even going down to actual quantities of food in the 2 or 3 weeks, certainly post-op, which all seemed a little bit previous, because the majority of the patients that were actually there and attending the seminar have probably got at least a three-month wait ahead of them, if not longer. And with the best will in the world, I don't think people retain that sort of in-depth information for that length of time. I don't mean to be rude to anybody, but you know, a lot of it just glosses over your head, and you know, people tend to sort of learn stuff on a need-to-know basis. I mean, you don't need to know that in 3 months' time you can only eat X number of grams of cheese or whatever. Well, that's my opinion anyway. Maybe some of you disagree, but rather than it being an overview of what you might expect, it was a bit more sort of in depth. So we sat there for 2 hours and were told about the different surgeries, the ones that were most popular, the ones that the surgeons preferred or usually did. Not one single word was made about was mentioned about funding, etc. And there were actually 8 of us patients there with various supporters, etc. And nobody even queried funding, which I found a bit strange, because they seem to be very reluctant to talk about, you know, funding and how you get funding and what you need to do for funding, and even querying, have you got funding? And as it seems to be one of the biggest hurdles, it just seems a bit strange. Anyway, from my point of view, I've learnt so much more from all you YouTubers, of which I have just immense respect, and so thankful that I've got all this information from you. Anyway, that's all for the moment. I do have my first surgeon's appointment on Wednesday, and hopefully I really will know something a little bit more definite then. But I'll get back to you then. For the time being, thank you to all my new subscribers. I'm hoping to tack on to the end of this a little bit of where I actually do my walks. So if you have the time and would like to see where I actually walk, then please feel free to continue. I walk, and on the right are some beach huts, and just coming into view down on the rocks is like a square concrete slab, And that in fact is a swimming pool which, when the tide comes in, actually fills up fresh each day. And this bay is Bideford Bay, and it's a very long sandy beach at Westward Ho, with something called the Pebble Ridge behind, which is what stops the water from much flooding of the land behind. This is where we actually are halfway point on our walk, and I'm now at that point and looking back to where I first started filming. At the moment the tide is out, so it's looking a little bleak, and it wasn't the sunniest of days, I'm afraid, but we walked to this point here and then back again. And coming into view virtually in the centre of the screen is where I was first filming. That block of flats there was just behind where I started filming. And it's all rocky just in front of me. But the main Westward Ho beach, this is a very popular surfing beach. Not that it looks like it at the moment with the tide well out. The tide comes right in, leaving virtually no beach whatsoever. Anyway, that's where I walk every day, weather permitting. Little